A new year brings a new beginning.
Oh my god, Leandra, you're pregnant too?
What? No. Are you?
No. But I do like making deliveries, which brings me to one of my favorite subjects, FedEx Office. If you're just starting or have been running your company for generations, FedEx Office can give you the best way to print marketing materials, posters, signage, graphics, and so much more.
With FedEx, creating, editing, saving, and ordering are fast and easy. We're teaming up with FedEx and Podgo to bring our listeners 30% off of their next order of $100 or more at podgo.co/FedEx.
That's podgo.co/FedEx for 30% off your next order.
FedEx,
the
the
world
world
on
on time.
I wish I was on time, am I right?
You're never on time. Be more like FedEx. Rocky Horror Minute is rated R. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is also rated R. We're going to spend this time discussing the movie in gory detail, and along the road we will talk about some adult content and use some of our favorite swear words.
Shitterton, titty ho, busty view, upper thong.
Consider yourselves warned.
Welcome to Rocky Horror Minute, the podcast where we discuss the Rocky Horror Picture Show 1 minute at a time in excruciating detail. I'm one of your hosts, Kelly.
And I'm your other host, Leandra.
And we are joined once again by our very special guest. We have Jamie Anderson of Radio Clash Revival here with us.
Thanks, guys. I am really enjoying talking about this movie.
Oh, yay. I'd be really sad if you were unhappy.
Right.
Yeah.
But I especially want to say that I love hearing your stories about like the community that is around it.
I'm really glad to hear you say that because sometimes we worry we're talking about it too much, but I guess we'll just ignore anyone who might give us notes to that effect and continue to talk about it.
I think aside from the movie itself being amazing, I think that the community that's around it is just awesome. Like found family community stuff is where my heart lives, so.
Aww.
I think I can speak for both myself and Leandra when I say it's changed our lives completely.
That's awesome.
It very much has. But that's not what's going on in this minute. This minute has nothing to do with saving lives.
Yeah, no. This is less of a found family and more of a created family, manufactured
and like
family.
A pretty fucked up created family.
Yeah.
I'd say so. Yeah, it's very interesting that Frankenfurter is mommy, daddy, and,
husband and wife.
And
there's actually,
wife.
I'm sure you guys have seen it, there's like a Rocky Horror wiki, and for like family for Rocky, it says Frankenfurter, and then it says creator/lover.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sometimes wonder, I mean, not that so much, but I sometimes wonder what Richard O'Brien's obsession with incest is. I'm afraid to know. I have two theories. One is potentially that he included it because like it's something that's taboo even to people who are pretty open-minded generally. Mm-hmm. And so it's something that would shock even your typical slut bag like me. My other potential theory is that he just has a fetish.
I think both are possible. Yeah.
Surprisingly, we didn't ask him when we sent him questions.
No, we did not. We thought that would be, but that doesn't stop me, at least, from speculating.
I'm sure that there are plenty of other possibilities for why he dwelled on that a little bit. Perhaps if you're listening and you have a theory, you can let us know.
Yeah, and feel free to send any illustrations you have, specifically to Leandra and not to me.
No. I don't. No.
It's fine. It's actually fine to do that. Unencouraged. So
I'm so upset. Yeah, minute 39. Surprisingly, the last one that we'll ever record.
Oddly, not only was our guest, but one of the hosts is going to be murdered under mysterious circumstances.
Sorry, what?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I would just not worry about that. So, Leandra, what happens in minute 39?
Glad you asked, finally. So, Stephen Calcutt continues to serve amazing, impressed faces while bopping around in the background. As I said before, he's the tall Transylvanian who's just derping in this, and it's amazing. Great way to start this. Rocky continues pleading to the Transylvanians, next turning to Sadie Corey, who's the shortest of the Transylvanians, and she kind of shakes her head in a "it's okay, little baby" sort of motion. And Rocky sees that Frank is quickly approaching, and he begins to run. Frank is on his stomach because he's fallen on the ground. He begins from this prone position, shaking his fist at Rocky, and then gets up and chases Rocky around while pulling his lab gown kind of in front of his crotch. This is, I think, just to make sure that there's a nice airflow. And then Riff Magenta and Columbia do a little dance, and then Rocky runs back up the other side of the ramp to go through the Transylvanians again. Fran Fullenwider, who is kind of the largest of the Transylvanians, she very casual-like steps forward for Rocky to bump into her. And once he's gotten through this fog of Transylvanians again, he jumps up to the lip of the tank that he was born in. The song ends, and the Transylvanians lean in to hear what's next. And the remaining lyrics are, "My life is a mystery, and can't you see that I'm at the start of a pretty big downer? Sha-la-la, that ain't no crime. Sha-la-la, that ain't no crime. No, 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 no. Sha-la-la, that ain't no crime. That ain't no crime. Sha-la-la, that ain't no crime. No, 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 no. Sha-la-la, that ain't no crime. Ooh, sha-la-la." And that's the way that song ends. And then Frankenfurter rushes over to the tank because he's finally caught up with Rocky and says, "Well, really, that's no way to behave on your first day out." And Rocky looks repentant, which is good, but hot, which is better. And Frank kind of clasps his leg and goes, "Oh, well, since you're such an exceptional beauty, I'm prepared to forgive you." And Rocky, who all of a sudden can't speak anymore, grunts in approval and twists the bars of the handrail that he's leaning into. And Frank says, "Oh, I just love."
Yeah. So, what are our thoughts on this minute, guys?
I like it because you get to see. Sorry.
No, you
didn't
don't.
interrupt you. I was going to say I like it because you get to see the Transylvanians up close.
Yeah, it is one of the best minutes for that. And if you're somebody who has ever tried to emulate a Transylvanian's costume as well as you can, it is frustrating. First of all, they're different between the ballroom scene and the lab scene.
Oh no.
But not consistently.
No. So, yeah. But then also, yeah, you don't get that many close-ups. And there are like behind the scenes photos, but they don't necessarily match what's in the movie. It's frustrating. I have tried many times to get a good handle on what Peggy Ledger, the older one, is wearing, because she's the one I try to dress up as.
Mm-hmm.
Hard. But yes, you get some great close-ups in this minute.
Yeah, and just a lot of fun acting opportunities for these actors who are often just kind of extras in different things.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these actors were selected off of a casting call for interesting looking actors.
That's cool.
And many of them were represented by a casting agency called Ugly, UGLY.
Oh, and they ain't got no alibi.
And it seems like it's actually a fairly positive experience for the people that come from there, because a lot of them stay with that casting agency for quite some time. I know Fran Fullenwider, she did a fair amount of work with them, and I know that I've already spoken about her a little bit in previous minutes, but she goes and she models in Italy after this, and she's
cool.
just this beautiful, voluptuous woman in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love her. This is like her star moment for me. I fucking love her just stepping in the way to get bonked.
So saucy.
And you can tell that the director was like, no, it's not taking enough time for him to run through the scene. Can somebody like bump into you? Can you do that? And then she goes, oh, you mean like this? And then she just kind of casually walks without making any sort of attempt to make this look natural.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it.
I was just gonna say, if I were a Transylvanian in that lab, I would like wander forward aimlessly and then get bumped into for sure.
I've seen you do that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you really get a feel for how small the set is.
Yeah.
This is, of course, not in the castle. This is on a set, kind of a couple of miles down the road at Bray Studio. So this is not a functioning part of where we are led to believe this exists.
Mm-hmm.
So they built this. This was intentional, and they made some mistakes.
So I just went to see a live taping of a BBC show, and I was absolutely amazed by how small the space was that they were filming in, and have taken it away that like that's what all these stages are really like, and it's all just like camera trickery to make them appear like a large inhabitable space.
I definitely think that there's something to that. It's certainly cheaper to create a smaller space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I love the fact that they spent a fair amount of money on this set and nobody thought to add a door.
And we've talked about this in previous minutes, but Patricia Quinn in particular and Richard O'Brien were talking about how small this area was and how difficult it was to film in there because of that. And it took like an insanely long time to film.
Oh, interesting.
Movie. Yeah.
But we did get to the end of a song, so what we do with that is we kind of rank it. We give it a score out of a number, and I always get it wrong. 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She can't count that high, so it's hard, but yeah, it's 5.
Not unless I have my shoes off.
Right. So, Jamie, why don't you go first? Ladies first. I'm no lady.
And I'm a tramp.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this rating just as a song period or as a part of this soundtrack?
We've been just giving them a rating in like quality, I guess.
It's not my favorite. I'd give it like a 2.
I would say a 2 as well, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
This is an interesting one. I don't enjoy this song on its own, certainly. I've never gotten into the car and gone, man, I really need to listen to Sword of Damocles. Yeah, pass the aux cord.
You get in an Uber and ask for the aux cord and then start playing this.
Oh god. I would hate me if I did that. But there's stuff about it that I also think is just kind of not fun. It is not a song that I think really forwards the plot all that well. And I also don't think that, even though Trevor White was brought in to sing for Peter Hinwood, I don't feel like the dub is necessarily expert.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's a problem with the sync between the lips. I think that it's more that it just doesn't sound like it's part of the soundtrack. It sounds like music that was dropped in later, which is kind of what it was.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, we don't have any idea, maybe somebody does, but I don't, what Peter Hinwood's voice sounds like.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take his word on it and say that it probably isn't good because he said that he sounds bad.
Well, I'm not even saying like a singing voice. Like, we don't know what his speaking voice or anything sounds like. He could sound like Mickey Mouse for all we know.
Yeah.
Which would be funny.
It would be.
It would be like a Singing in the Rain situation where they were like, oh no, we have to dub over him.
God, I would
Trevor
love that.
White. But
The
anyway.
sword of Damocles is hanging over my head.
Yeah, because Richard O'Brien, right, cast him in the gym. It's like, get me that guy, and didn't bother to like hear him speak. And then when he got to the video, they were like, no. And now for a commercial break.
Hi, I'm Aaron.
I'm John.
And I'm Nikki. We host Rocky Talkie Podcast, a weekly program where we talk about worldwide Rocky Horror related news and current events from the shadowcasting community.
We cover big global news stories about the movie, the play, the actors, and the shadowcasters.
We also fill you in on all the cool Rocky related projects that individual casts and shadowcasters are working on.
We learn a lot about the history of the movie and the community. It's a good time. We just did an episode all about the pornos. Ooh.
If you want to learn more about Rocky in the news and catch up on what's going on with other community members, visit our website, rockytalkiepodcast.com.
And if you've got some news to share, send us an email at rockytalkiepodcast@gmail.com.
Our episodes drop Thursdays on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. So come check us out and visit us on all social media at Rocky Talkie Podcast.
We'll see you next Thursday. Snoogans.
You said see you next Thursday.
I guess to answer your question, I'd probably give it like a 1, maybe a 1.5, just because it's also mixed within the movie and within the soundtrack in a different way, at least to my ear. So it doesn't feel right, and it doesn't sound right, and it's not great for me. That doesn't mean that I don't love the song. I think that there are some really fun things about it, but
Would you say you love the song?
I love Rocky, the movie that we're reviewing. And like all parents, I can't say that I don't love my children.
Much like the Doctor.
It's true.
Yeah. I think the sound mixing is one of the lower points of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
It is not very good.
No.
That's
like, there are a lot of songs where the instrumentals are like drowning out the voices, and
yeah, it's unfortunate, and especially in this one, it's really prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
No. And also, I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but musically, it's not my favorite song either.
No,
I just meh.
Yeah.
So there we go. Not fans.
Yeah,
it is definitely the one that has scored the lowest so far.
Don't worry, not my least favorite.
No, not mine either. I can't wait. I'm like pins and needles waiting to hear what Leandra's least favorite is. I assumed that everyone hated Eddie's Teddy the most, but here I am.
That one at least sounds like it belongs in the movie.
I guess. I mean, I'm trying to get...
it's not on the original soundtrack, actually. At least not the one on Spotify.
Oh, yeah. Leandra has an explanation for that.
Yeah, they added it on late. It's because Trevor White wasn't added on until a little bit later.
Oh, okay.
But you know what is good about Sword of Damocles is that it brought me my favorite Frank minute in the entire movie, I think, which is this minute. I love him in this minute. He's so good. He's carrying the scene for me. Between the Rocky shaking his fist on the ground, and then the little thingy he does with his little skirt for no reason. I just fucking love him so much. So yeah, it's great.
He very much is going so over the top, and so I can't believe that this is how you're behaving, and it's very much playing a melodrama for the audience of Transylvanians. So it's some good stuff. I love that he even like kisses Rocky's calf when he's crawling behind him. He's just going, "Oh, I did such a great job."
Yeah, he's just so silly and fun throughout this song, but especially in this minute. It's always been one of the parts of the movie I remembered most solely because of him.
And then, of course, you have Riff Raff, Magenta, and Columbia. They're doing their own little dance. The Transylvanians are doing their own little dance that is kind of not always shown on the screen, but at least through the verbal history, the oral history of Rocky Horror, I've been taught what they are ostensibly doing. So
the origin of that dance?
That the Transylvanians are doing? No.
Yeah. Richard O'Brien said on the commentary that he made it up off the top of his head in seconds. And everybody, they were like, we need something for them to do. And he just did that. And they were like, that's great. We'll do that. And he's like, I can't dance. I suck at choreography. I've never been able to do anything like that again. But there you go.
At least it wasn't a grapevine.
That would have been good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I thought that was interesting. It's a little tale from the set.
Yeah, so good job, Richard O'Brien. It's some fun stuff that you choreographed there. You expert you.
He didn't come up with the time warp?
No.
Okay.
That would have been probably... I mean, I'm assuming not. Well, he wrote the lyrics.
Right.
So I guess he probably came up with that part. Leandra?
I think that that's a good question. And I will answer that with another question.
Okay.
Did you do something different with your hair?
Yeah, I did wash it.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's very polite.
Yeah, thank you. So anyway, do we have any other notes for this minute, or?
I do not.
Honestly, I don't. I do have just a small smackerel of callbacks, but that's it.
I was just going to say that I totally agree with you that Frank makes this whole thing.
Yeah.
He's so perfect in it. Yeah.
He's amazing. So I guess in that case, we can move on to callbacks. And I know this is the minute where Jamie knows one.
I do. Well, I had a vague memory of one, which is about being very horny.
Yes. Yeah, she just has a vague memory of being horny. And that
Frank was on screen, okay.
There's, if you're horny and you know it, bang the bars. You can even clap, right? It's after That's No Way to Behave on your first day out. You could start doing that. And then eventually Rocky is going to bang on the bars really excitedly. So that's the one that you vaguely remember.
Yes.
So this is hopefully not something that will make its way in the recording, but this is a note for Dan when he bitches that there is noise coming from my microphone. And I go, I don't know why you would do that. Why are you bumping the mic, Leandra? It's you this time because you just were rubbing on my face.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the producer.
Yeah. So I only know one other callback, and it's not a great one, but after your first day out, I will often hear of the closet.
Ah, okay.
The only two callbacks that I have, and I know that these are Turnip's favorite. Turnip is in the background. She just woke up to hear these. She's a very cute cat. My two callbacks for this are at the end of the song. They go, sha-la-la, and it sounds like they're saying sha-na-na. And you can go, I love sha-na-na.
What is that a reference to? I've heard that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck it is.
Well, I'm glad you asked. You see, Sha-na-na is a musical group, and they are a song and dance repertoire based on 1950s hit songs. They formed in 1969. They're pretty fun. They do just a lot of crowd pleaser sorts of things. So look them up.
Interesting.
And then the only other callback that I have is when Frank says, "Oh, really?" You go, "No, frankly."
I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But that's really all I have. If that's the last bit of callbacks that I know, and that's the last bit of callbacks that Kelly knows, unfortunately, that does not bode well for you, Jamie.
Why?
Well, it's your last day on the show, but also...
Oh, yeah, I'm sad about that.
Yeah,
We're very sad.
We need you to go out into the woods to meet, Perry Bedden from the movie.
He's one of the Transylvanians.
This is the person who's going to pay me, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He will give you what you deserve.
Oh, great. I'm excited.
Yeah. So yeah, why don't you just head out and look for him? And you know what? He'll find you. He'll always find you.
Great.
So, but it has been great having you on, and thank you so much for spending some of your most precious moments with us.
Certainly your last ones.
Yes.
Oh, thanks, guys. That's really nice of you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
So let's go ahead and end this the same way that we end all of our episodes. And for you, the last moments of your life. So we'll do that with...
Weird, you keep saying that.
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing I'd say. but we'll go with now. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. So get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out.
And die very well.